Bye, Phil.
Bye, Phil. I like Phil.
I
How
love
long have you known
Phil.
Phil?
Oh, like 2 years now?
Yeah?
Yeah, we're on a podcast together. He's my bud. Love him.
Right. He sent me, I saw some of the podcast, some of the episode that he sent me. I'm
hmm
excited to chop it up with you, to get
hmm
talk. Yeah. See, I do that. And it
We
probably
do
makes,
that.
we do that.
It's cute. It
It
makes
is.
yeah, it humanizes you. It makes you seem endearing.
That's what Google said. I
Yeah.
went on Chat GPT. I said, Chat GPT need to be endearing. What hand movement? And it just did like a whole bunch of lines and just kind of
Yep.
little emojis and everything.
That's how you do it.
Perfect.
This episode is presented by OIT VoIP. Enhance your client's communication abilities with our VoIP solution, featuring integrated billing, on-demand training, and live US support. Collaborate seamlessly with Microsoft Teams integration and put your entire phone system in your pocket with Mobile X. Improve your offerings and increase profitability with reliable service for 1/10 of the average MSP acquisition cost. To learn more, visit oit.co or dial 844-CALL-OIT.
We're here. We're here. Actually, how about this? I'm going to go ahead and introduce it on it. Is that good? Awesome.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there in internet land. This is 38 at 38. I am Aaron Bolton, and we talk about ridiculous job stories. And I have a wonderful guest today, Ashley. Ashley is a good friend of producer Phil. Producer Phil gets mentioned a lot. You guys have not seen him, but I think we need to have him come on just sometimes
hmm
to, right? Yeah. How long have you said you've known Phil for 2 years
Two
now?
years. Yeah, we're on a podcast together. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, which podcast?
The suck. You can find it by Google it or by entering into your search bar the suck with two C's, no K, .me.
The suck.me.
Yes.
I'm very proud of you on that one. That one's good. I like
Yeah.
that. Awesome. So, Ashley, you're here. You have a story that you're going to tell. But first, can you tell a little bit about yourself? What do you do? What are you into?
Sure. I my name's Ashley Gordon. I go by Knives McGee online as a means of hiding my true identity. But now you guys know all of my identities. I'm an artist, comedian, and Pisces. Uh, I'm a 10-year fast food veteran, 11 years working as a web developer in the digital marketing sphere. I have a BS in programming and analytics. And that's what it is. It's bullshit. If you're considering getting into web development, you don't need a college education for that. Don't do it. It's a waste of money.
There's so many impressionable youngsters watching right
I
now.
know, exactly. I'm doing it for the kids.
That's exactly what we need to do it for. Very good. So, you went and got your bachelor's in web development?
It's a BS, yeah. So it's a bachelor's
It's a
of
BS.
science.
Right. What? Huh. So did that open doors for you? Because I'm trying to figure out like how did that open doors having the bachelor's in web development?
Kind of. It's always been me getting hired with like people I've known previously or like friends of mine, like people from
Right on.
school or people that I had done like freelance work for. Because that's kind of where you start when you're just taking on freelance jobs, and then eventually like get a decent spot somewhere.
Very cool. Just well, you said there might not be a reason or for you to go, but maybe
Yeah, I
it opens
mean
doors.
I mean it can, but
don't.
consider not that. And some of the best developers I've ever met did not go to school, so you can teach yourself for cheap or free.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's my pause. I was thinking, I was like, well, what is it that is proprietary about colleges that they could teach about? What knowledge do they have about web development that you can't find on the web?
I think if you're the type of person who really needs structure and like someone to tell
Right.
you like, hey, this needs to be done by this time, you need to learn this thing, then yeah. But I mean, almost nothing that I learned in programming and analysis is anything that I use other than maybe scripting when it comes to my job.
Right on. Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and your job, let's talk a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. Um, so
Oh,
yeah, I was like, okay, sure, next question.
yeah.
But so I currently work for a great company in Pittsburgh. I love them. It's mostly digital. It's all digital marketing. So um, if you've ever looked briefly at like a pair of shoes, and then that pair of shoes haunts you until you buy it with ads and emails, etc. That's me. I did that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And
But
how do you sleep with yourself at night? No, just
oh,
kidding.
dude, don't even get me started. I've had way worse jobs. My first grown up job, and I guess like the digital marketing sphere was email marketing,
Uh-huh.
and I would send spam emails. But we companied with this company who paid us to send porn to. So I would target guys between the ages of 16 and 64, and then I would send them spam emails just because they clicked on an ad for a free Xbox. This was like a long time ago. This kind of shit
Right.
was legal, and it was in Florida. So we
Well,
were,
it probably still is legal. It's in Florida.
yeah, we were free to do
Yeah.
whatever. But I would do dirty shit, like send like, oh, you ordered stamps, they're on the way, and then they would open it and it would be porn. But I would get an open. There was just like, oh, so I can add that to the analytics and be like, look, we got an open, we got a click, you know.
Nice. Your
Mm-hmm.
grandmother is dead. What?
It's like,
Psych.
oh my god. Oh, nice porn. Click. You know.
Yeah. Oh, and a click through.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, I'm getting a lot of click throughs on grandmother is dead. I don't know what's up with that. But
Yes, the guy's sad. He's lonely. He's at home alone. Just found out his grandma's dead. Might as well watch some
apparently
porn.
a second ago,
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh my goodness! Oh, well, I'm happy she's not dead."
Oh, but look, tits.
Oh
So
my goodness.
I would design great emails, by the way. Beautiful, tasteful porn emails to send out. And like to not get into the spam.
Tasteful.
Yep. And to not get into the spam folder, you had to like kind of jump through some hoops. So I actually pride myself on how well those analytics did back in the day. It's still on my resume. 10%
Well, it's an
open
art.
rate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it really is an art. I do leadership development. I'm reaching out, I'm contacting executives and what, and everyone contacts them. You know, everyone. So I've got to be pithy. I've got to leave a mark. I've got to say something that's going to grab their attention, and maybe even, hey, look over here. Hey, over here. You know, and it's not easy. You know,
No, it's not at all.
and that's where like people are like, oh well, chat gpt is gonna push me out. No, I've tried chat gpt on, yeah, it's okay, but it sometimes takes that human element to kind of change
Right.
it up just a little bit.
I use a lot of ChatGPT with what I do. If anything, it makes the process a lot quicker. It helps me reach a conclusion, but you have to know what to ask it, and you have to know where
Right.
to put these things. You know what I mean?
Right. So the way I talk about chat gpt, and I still run into and talk to people who are, yeah, real naysayers on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, oh, it's the worst thing. Oh, it's gonna rot the children's mind. It's
No,
gonna,
whatever.
and I've got so many. Imagine they're like, whoa, we're not going to be doing things for ourselves. When was the last time you did long division? When
Yeah.
was the last time you did long? No, and I remember, and I'm sure when calculators came out, I'm sure that people were like, well, that's just gonna rot the kids' mind.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna cheat. I remember being in high school and our teachers were like, hey, make sure no calculators out, whoa, no calc. And now it's like, okay, why did you forget your calculator? You
Yeah.
know, basically, why'd you forget your cell phone? You know,
Right.
it's
That,
so
and
what the
I.
way I see it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No. I hated math. I fucking hated math, and I'm technically a computer scientist, and I don't use math at all. I write programs to do that shit for me. So
Right.
it's just it doesn't, it doesn't matter. And I think if something helps, it helps, but I don't think it's gonna fucking take over, man.
I think there's going to be um, a creative renaissance here in the
Mm-hmm.
next 10 years. And I don't want to say kind of like the renaissance of before, you know, when people started doing well. So they were like, okay, we're not having to worry about starving so much. So now we can focus on the arts. I think what ChatGPT is going to do, and other AIs similar, is going to take away all the back end, all the administrative, all the stuff that creatives, just, can I just get that done? So I can focus on my craft, so I can do something, so I can create.
Right.
Okay, no, sometimes you have to do all this other back stuff. You have to do planning. You have to do, but ChatGPT can do that for you.
Right.
You know, ChatGPT can organize, can do all that for you, and allow you now. And that's going to spread throughout. You know, when AI starts opening up more, and you know, people are going to be able to spend more time on their creative than their, you know,
we can hope.
analytical stuff.
We can hope. It's just like there's always that dirty little capitalism issue where it's just like we're for profit, and like what happened with AI and content writers in my industry is so the amount of work they want done when it comes to content writing, just as it's much more, but they didn't hire more people. They hired less people to generate more content. So like we still need people to do it. So AI generates the content, the person goes through and makes it more human sounding, make sure all of the SEO keywords are in there, and then I post it on the website. So it's
it's not going to make things worse. It's, you know, look, when the printing press came out, you know, first it was the Bible, but after the Bible, the number one best-selling type of book was How to Catch Witches. You know, I mean, look, we're right now going through a journey. So there's going to be some growing pains, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You know, how many people at that time were like, no, we got to get rid of this printing press, witches, you know? So it's just going to be this little hiccup we got to figure out.
How do you catch witches? Is that the name of the actual book? How to Catch Witches?
Quickly, you catch them quickly, skillfully. No, I don't think it was specifically the name of the book. It was the genre of books that were being produced.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, and I'm guessing, that was much after. That was probably late 16, early 1700s, something like that. If my witch history does me well, you know, not to stay on ChatGPT, but with content writing. So I write a lot. And I write like LinkedIn posts, and when I write those a lot, and I have a specific voice, and I notice my voice, and I'll read something where I'm like, that just doesn't sound like, you know, I must be a little off. But
you have a brand.
There's and I don't mean it to be like that, but it is. It's just, you know, I'll throw a little joke in there. I'll do, you know, just. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, ChatGPT, read all of my writings. And then I need you to decipher and break down what my writing voice is. And it broke down. I mean, it was scary. It was cool and scary. I was like, this is awesome. So I gave it more and I gave it more, and it learned. And I said, okay, so this is my writing voice. And I make sure like every few times I go back to it, I ask it to regenerate explain to me the writing voice, just so it's kind of more frequent or more readily available, because it doesn't have long-term memory. That's what I found out. ChatGPT won't go all the way back up. So, but so now I can type in a prompt, or at first I had to play with them, but now I type something in and I hit enter, and I'm like, oh, did I write that? And even I was going back last week trying to find one, and I was looking at my LinkedIn post. I was like, wait, did I don't know if I wrote that or not. I can't tell, because it sounds just like me. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I'm going to tell the content writers that. They might love that. They might get something out of that, honestly. If it's if we're going to do the voice kind of thing where it makes things sound more human already, they might not have to do as much work.
Yeah, after the show, I'll share my screen and I'll show you. Like, I'll show it to you. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Oh, guess what? We're doing a show. I forgot for a second. I was just vibing with you.
Yep. Sorry. Got to get to business.
No worries. No, we love it. So as you know, and as everyone out there obviously knows, that on this show, we talk about the most ridiculous job stories that people have. I invite a guest on, and my guest brings with them their worst job story or their most ridiculous job story, something either humorous, funny, something to what we often say is currently funny or currently hilarious, previously stressful job
Mm-hmm.
stories, right? Because the best ones, they're never like, haha, yay, while it's going on. It's like, oh my word, this is not good. So then we'll discuss that back and forth, and then afterwards, then you'll provide. We provided you with quotes. You're going to choose one of those quotes, and one of those quotes lines up with one of the jobs I've had, and then I'll discuss that. Sound good,
Sounds good to me.
Ashley? What's up? What's that job story that you got?
Okay, so it's actually more so. It is one doctor that I worked for who was a client of ours. It's more so the vibe and the situation of the company that I worked for. So I worked for a digital marketing agency in Florida. We specialized in plastic surgery and med spa marketing. Um, any company that makes a special effort to have their business in Florida, that's a red flag. So
They went out of their way. Sir, you're in Rhode Island, and I believe that's the best state to get your corporation in. Florida now.
that's where the
Really?
CEO is from, Rhode
Yeah,
Island. Yeah.
Florida. Okay, so
So
they're like, we got some loopholes we need to take advantage of.
absolutely 100%. So when I was furloughed slash fired during the pandemic, at the start of the pandemic, they actually offered me a decent sum of money if I were to sign an NDA, but only if I signed the NDA. So I did, and I moved out of Florida with the money that they gave me. Um, in the NDA, it's very specific, and it's clearly outlined that I can't speak on specifically any fraud, illicit
Right.
drug use.
And that's just normal NDA stuff.
Yeah, normal stuff
Right.
like no physical or sexual assault that I may have been witness to. Normal.
Obvi.
I can't sue them. Like there's like something in there where it's just like, by the way, you can't sue us. You're not allowed to sue us. And I was like, all right, whatever. It's funny because
but you got paid.
Oh, I got paid. Yeah, I'm living in
Okay.
New York now. I'm on the other side of the.
You won. Okay.
I won.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So I actually texted my old manager because I was excited to come on and talk about this doctor in particular and like the business I work for. And I was just like, dude, I really want to talk about Dr. Hetz. And he was just like, you can talk about anything that's public record. Like it's not like a huge
So
deal.
his name's Dr. Hex.
Dr. Hetz. So his name was Dr. Nolan Hetz. And to like just Hetz. H-E-T-Z.
This is him right here, guys. This is him. No,
yeah.
Phil, don't put that in there.
This is all public record, and yes, I will send you a picture of Dr. Hetz because it just adds to all. He was the worst doctor, and that's saying something. I don't know if you've ever talked to a plastic surgeon or like a med spa owner, but those are terrible people. Very narcissistic. Awful people.
There's a billboard over here in Tampa. A few of these billboards that is Dr. Castellano, and it's a picture of him in a surgical outfit, and then a big bust of a woman, and then a quote under it that says "just beautiful," and it's his quote. Mm-hmm. So not only is he saying that his quote is just beautiful, he's not the first one that said that. He's quoting himself on his billboard. That is amazing.
You learn a lot about doctors pretty quickly with just like how like verbally abusive and awful they can be. One of the things that I did, if I could sense a doctor, because I would build the websites for them and promotions and stuff like that. So with their website, the one thing that would always, if I could sense that they were an asshole, the one thing that would always make them happy, if you just put a big picture of them on the slider, first slider, just a big picture of them, quote, logo multiple times, horny. They're so horny for that.
Their own quote.
They love it, dude. They love
I had
it so
cheese
much.
and eggs for breakfast. And that's his quote.
Just put it in like a kind of cursive-y font with quotes around it. Have it slide in.
Italics, good to go.
They're gonna love you forever. Yeah. So I think it's important for me to. I've given enough information, I think, about the type of company. The CEO of the company was from Rhode
No,
Island.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
Now the company that you're speaking about,
Mm-hmm.
were you working for a company that was contracted to the doctors, or were you working for the doctor's office?
No, so
Or
we had a bunch. We had 300 plus clients who were all doctors and med
okay,
spas.
so you're working for a company that the client was that doctor. One of the
Correct.
clients was that doctor. Okay,
Correct.
now the nature of the business that you
Mm-hmm.
were talking about, the NDA, that was the company you were actually working for, not the doctor's
Correct.
office.
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. All right, gotcha,
Mhm.
gotcha. So you had a pretty. We don't know. I can't say if it's a rough place to work with a lot of malpractice things.
I can't
I
say
don't know.
either.
I can't say. And also, you had a client who was
Oh
amazing. Who was amazing.
boy. First of all, the CEO of the company that I worked for, I think this is important to like set up. So, Trump supporter, anti-vaxxer, 2 kids, one named Anthem and the other named fucking Rhapsody. Wife had 3 Rhapsody. He could have named her Symphony, or
Right.
and it would have been better. But her name
Melody.
right, like a
Rhapsody.
normal human name. He named them like dogs.
Right.
Wife had 3 breast augmentation surgeries.
He named them like. What if he named them like dogs? Like they were home for a little bit. They were just running around on like newspapers, the babies. Like, you know what?
Would have been better. Well, I mean, the joke that I made, I was just like, well, at least she's not going to live very long because they're anti-vaxxers. So she doesn't have to grow up with the name Rhapsody.
You know what? That list, I was like, okay, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of them. I'm like, okay, look, okay, a Trump supporter, and that, okay, all right, whatever. I don't, half the nation, whatever. You know,
so much
QAnon?
Q, yep, Q.
Oh, this guy. Well, you should have just started with QAnon.
It gets worse.
Oh, okay. But any one of those things, I'd be, yeah, okay, no problem. But you start, those are multipliers. That's not times 2. It starts, especially a name. Look, kids are awesome. I love kids. I got a couple. Rhapsody is
child
a rough
abuse.
one.
That's
Anthem.
Child abuse. Yeah,
Anthem is a rough one. Anthem is a rough one.
Well, he was born on the 4th of July, so I guess
that's a C-section. That was scheduled.
Actually, now that I think about it, you're right, dude. You're right. It was totally scheduled.
Had to be.
Oh no!
And I only say that because of too many coincidences. Too many things.
You're right.
Too many things.
The stars aligned. Yeah.
Right. The Star-Spangled Banner aligned. That's what happened.
Oh, that's a good one, bud. I like that. That's funny as hell. So,
all right. I'm sorry. I had to.
No,
all right,
you're fine. You're allowed.
The CEO is great so far.
He's like if you gave the worst northern trailer trash money. So he would wear bedazzled Swarovski crystal acid wash jeans, spiked dyed black hair, embroidered skulls on button-down shirts, right? Dyed black goatee, which should be illegal. Just like imagine like evil Guy Fieri. Like Guy Fieri.
I was right about to say evil. Guy Fieri.
Like Guy Fieri, yeah. His Wario. Like that's what this guy was, and he was so loud and so fucking obnoxious.
Ferrario.
He was
That's
Ferrario.
So great.
100%. He dressed like an edgy goth youth pastor, worst musician you've ever heard in your life. But we all had to be like, "Oh, you're so good at guitar. I love your cover of fucking Falling in Reverse."
Yeah, what was that again? Oh, another Three Doors Down cover. Cool.
No, seriously, it's very much like but like the chords were off. It's like he would play in his office with like a speaker. It's just like the biggest asshole you've ever met in your life. Like I hated this guy.
Oh, you're playing Dave Matthews again. Surprise.
Absolutely.
Surprise.
Absolutely. If you've ever heard Falling in Reverse, like that shit, he loved that like corny douchebag metal. So
DB metal.
So that guy went to a plastic surgery conference and met this guy, Dr. Hetz, and they hit it off.
Wait, why'd that guy go to a plastic surgery conference?
Because that's where we get clients.
Okay. I didn't know if he was like, you know what? I'm going to get
my
some plastic
wife
surgery,
needs,
but I
yeah.
want to engulf myself in a
Right.
conference.
My wife needs another breast augmentation surgery. It's very important that I go. But yeah, so we would go to those all the time and like make sales and stuff like this. Is how we got our clientele.
Right.
So Dr. Hetz and it's the CEO. Can we bleep that out? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think if
Make a
it's
sound. Make a sound. Make a sound. Any sound. There it is. There's the bleep out sound.
Cool, perfect. Um, so they hit it off and they were friends. Dr. Hetz hated women, fucking vehemently hated women.
Aww.
So what do you do? What type of doctor do you want to be if you can't stand women?
I need to make them perfect. I need to make them perfect in my image.
Even worse.
Uh-oh.
Gynecologist.
Oh no.
He was, when we first hired him on, he was a gynecologist, which some of it like counts as med spa, so like vaginal rejuvenation, labiaplasties, things like that.
Twice a week,
just the tightest vagina ever. And so he was our client when he first started a gynecologist. This guy, first of all, extremely difficult to work with. We would hot potato him around. He would get livid about just like the dumbest shit. Like he didn't like the color on a promotion that went out anymore, even though he approved it, and he would scream at us, verbally abusive. He called me a bitch. He would get fired. He told me that he was at one point. He told me a bitch, and he was going to get me. He told me I was a bitch, and he was going to get me fired at one point. So we hot potatoed him around the whole to have them work on his promotions and his website until he came back to me and had forgotten that he called me a bitch. So that was just kind of like how
when he calls so many people so many horrible things, how can you keep track?
Exactly. So
before you continue,
yeah.
Why? So how did he hate women? Like what would you say? What was some evidence pointing to him not liking the women?
This man had so many horrible reviews, and he would have us scrub the internet of these reviews, but we couldn't keep up with how many horrible reviews there were of him. He ended up getting sued. He lost his gynecology office. So
how many patients do you see that you have so many?
And this is public record too. I'm going to read you some of my favorite reviews. I have some.
Oh, please. Yes.
So after he was like, I don't know if it was just like a thing, like anyway, he couldn't work as a gynecologist anymore. So shucks. So
Grandma would be upset.
Oh no. So
I just got an email saying she died.
Ooh, breast implants.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I don't know if the CEO pointed him in this direction. Like, hey, if you can't be a vagina doctor anymore, why don't you get into just med spa? So he started doing like Xeomin and Botox injections in women's faces. Again, horrible bedside manner. Also, many women come into your office when you're doing those things like injections and stuff. There were reviews about him giving injections unevenly. So like one woman had to get reconstructive surgery after he fucked up her Xeomin injection. There was one review we struggled to get rid of where he had given a woman Botox injections around her eyes and he used acetone to wipe her off.
Like that can't be good.
No, that's not allowed or good.
Was he also doing his nails? What was going on?
I don't know. Why would you use acetone? That's literally he's got to be like some kind of like
What is he doing that he would need acetone right there?
That's not the thing that you touch a person's face with under any circumstances, right? You would think.
I'm just wondering why acetone would be in there. Why would that be part of his tool set? Like, and the acetone that I never use just in case.
Did I already say that he tried to call the cops on us because we couldn't get a review removed? Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So that's the type of guy this dude was. Can I read some of my favorite reviews?
I think you have to.
All right. So you asked me how did he hate women?
Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm not. I don't need to know specifics of this is how he did it. But no, like, yeah. What's some people say? What do they say? What do the youth say? I want to see the receipts.
Okay, I'll read you two. I'll read one that I think
Okay.
kind of encapsulates. Oh, also he would make his wife, which he had one somehow. I've never been married. How do you manage this as this terrible type of person? Anyway, he would have his wife and his kid write good reviews. So if you look up Dr. Het's reviews, many of them are still up. There are some extremely positive ones about how he's such a great guy, and then ones where he's just like, he verbally assaulted me and he wiped my. I had to go to a. He told one person that she had cancer, and she didn't. Yeah.
Why would he know?
He wouldn't.
He eyeballed it.
He just decided, yeah. That's not something you can just be like, oh, it looks like you have cancer.
That's cancer.
Yep, I've
that's
seen
cancer.
cancer before. That's definitely cancer.
Well,
let me see.
That's cancer.
Oh yeah, this one. When I went to him, he had a questionnaire asking if I had ever had sex or a relationship, or if I'd ever had an orgasm. Completely inappropriate. When I indicated I did not have a relationship or have ever had sex, he said something was wrong with me and referred me to a psychiatrist. 1 star.
1 star.
One lady was giving her a gynecological exam and he said, "Hey, can you feel that? I'm touching your G-spot."
Wait. Okay. Before that, the other lady, that's when he was. Please tell me at least that's when he was a gynecologist. That'd be really weird if he was a plastic surgeon. It's like, have you had sex? You know?
Actually, no.
What?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm looking at the date, and it's more recent. So I don't know if he somehow got back into gynecology. I have no idea, man.
What if he's just asking? He says that's a questionnaire. It's a questionnaire asking if you've had sex.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I might just call this place up tomorrow and just say, "Hi, yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my questionnaire. Can you email me one, please?"
Dude, do it. It's so the company that he runs is called Youthful Endeavors. If anybody wants to get any work done.
Tens and tens of people who see this are gonna go nuts. They're gonna call that place.
The turnaround in that man's office, we could not keep anybody working for him. Like the person that we would contact to get in contact with Hetz, constantly changing like by the day. So we just kind of assumed we were going to wait for Dr. Hetz to get back to us. We just bypassed the entire office because there's never anybody in the office because everybody's either getting fired or walking out.
Everyone is in a constant state of motion, and that motion is either walking in because they just got hired, setting up their desk, but almost immediately taking their stuff back down and walking out because they either quit or got fired. Constantly.
Yeah, exactly. I urge you to look up this man's reviews. There's some real zingers.
Oh man. That's great. You got any more?
This is my favorite one, and it just really hits home the type of guy this is.
Okay.
He was highly recommended to me, but was visibly aroused during my breast exam. That lasted 5 minutes, and it was like he was playing with my nipples. I was alone in the room, and it was a very uncomfortable situation. I'm not sure what to do, but I would hate for anyone else to go through what I did. And then the next review is, "Great doctor. He not only treated my illness, but he truly cares about me as a patient."
And the one right after that is like, "I love the way Daddy makes mashed potatoes." No, son,
right.
son.
It's like, no, you can't do that. Yeah, talk about how I'm so good at Botox.
Yeah, my daddy's better than your daddy.
God, that guy sucks so bad.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
I feel bad for her because she literally got assaulted.
Yeah, like right now I'm like, like in my mind, I want to be like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? Oh, I don't know what to do. What do you do? What do you I
Who do
guess
you
the
go to?
cops, an attorney,
So I'm going to end this story on a high
his
note.
his
Right.
wife, maybe.
She divorced him.
Oh,
And he's dead now, apparently.
what?
Yeah.
This is how you ended your story? Ashley, I want you back on this podcast every time. You ended the story
On a high note.
I hope. Oh, I hope he got right. Like just like ask for forgiveness. Just I hope he turned a leaf before he died. My
Awful man.
word.
Awful
Oh
man.
my goodness.
Untreated mental illness. Very,
this
very mean
is-
man.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take a pause for our sponsor.
Are you engrossed by the intriguing world of AI? Do you find yourself relying more on ChatGPT every day? Are you fascinated by creating visuals with Midjourney or Stable Diffusion? Or could it be you're contemplating the deep-seated implications AI has for your professional field? If you're struggling to keep abreast of all the AI developments, don't worry. I'm Phil Buck, the host of AI Roundup, a weekly digest of all things AI. Make sure to check in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern for a concise roundup of the most captivating AI news right here on the MSP Media Network.
And we're back.
Ooh.
We are back. Now, I'm sure, first of all, that was an amazing ad that you all just watched. Like, help us out. Buy 8 of them. Buy 8 of them, whatever it was. Just get them for Christmas, Hanukkah, it all.
Even if
Help
it's
us out.
mattresses, buy all 8. You got
buy
friends.
8 of them.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Stack
what are
'em.
you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? Come on, you got some time. You can do it. Okay, so this is a time I don't even know where to go. That was an awesome story. That was an awesome ending to the story. It's not a great. It's not awesome. He died. Not that, but the fact that you set it up like that. Hat off to you. So this is the time where, and actually, I'm a little nervous. Not gonna lie to you, Ash. Can I call you Ash?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I shorten every. Anyway,
My
See what I did
name in the thing is Ash. You're good.
it's Ash. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So I sometimes I get maybe a little nervous, anticipation maybe, because I don't know the quote that you've chosen, and I have to come up with all the stories and remember it right off the top of my head.
Mhm.
But there's a little bit more there now because that was such a great story.
Thanks.
That was such an awesome story. So, all right, let's put my remembering cap on. And all right, which quote did you pick?
I love this because it's kind of like improv with bumpers on the side. So it's just like you have like a scope. But I was wondering, do you know anybody who could help me party?
Okay. All right. So that's a fun one. That one is actually a fairly recent one. So let's see, I need to tippy toe around because I haven't talked about this job yet. So I was working at my full-time, a main job. And a lot of these jobs, just so you know, the 38 at 38, when I was 38 years old, I'd counted it up and I'd had 38 jobs.
Mhm.
And I tell that to people and they're like, wow, that's a lot. And yes, it is a lot, but it wasn't that. It was, I mean, I started working when I was young. Like my mom
Yeah.
and my mom had like little grocery stores or clothing stores, and I would have to work there. I talked already before when my mom was actually the guest. There was a beeper store that she had, and I was 10 years old, like taking apart beepers, changing cases, taking
Nice.
payments. That's a job, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I count that. So it started early, and many times I've had 2 jobs throughout high school. I think I had 2 jobs all throughout high school. 2 jobs at one time. I had 3 jobs
Nice,
for a
man.
while. So, and there's always a hustle. I always have like something else on the side. Hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make money. Okay.
Mhm.
So this was not my main job. The quote that you have, that was not my main job. It was a side hustle, a little company you may have heard called Uber.
Okay.
Okay, so Uber had just came out. Like it was not maybe a year, maybe a year. It was still maybe
Fresh.
it was maybe a little bit, yeah, it's still fresh, maybe more than a year, but really people kind of just started using it, especially like in Tampa, Florida. And I had and I and I had a good job. I had a good job. I also had a Ford Expedition Limited, like all black Ford Expedition Limited, leather interior, and all
Hmm.
tinted black out, right? So and I was going through a time, and this was, I guess it wasn't it was, well, 8 years ago. It was about maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. Either way, I started working for Uber, driving around. First of all, not smart. It's not like they reimburse you for your gas. So I'm driving
No,
around
they
a
don't.
V8 truck, and this is also before they had like Uber XL or Uber Elite or Uber anything. It
Hmm.
was just Uber. So I'd pull up and people would be like, is this for me? And I'd be like, yes, sir. Come on in.
Might I enter, sir? You had a
Please, please.
murder. You had a murdered out all black vehicle in Florida.
Murked. Yeah, 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 yeah.
How
I
boiling
know.
hot.
Oh, so hot, but it looked so good. I'm telling you, I loved it. Looked so good. I just got rid of it 6 months ago. It died. It died. I
Oh,
mean,
that's a
I've
shame.
had it for over, yeah. But either way, thanks for bringing up the sad stories. This is definitely the saddest story of this
Good.
podcast so far.
Perfect. Awesome.
So so I started driving around. Oh, I don't think I have a picture. I don't. No,
I
that's
I
not a
did
picture.
I did Uber Eats
That
in Florida for a little bit, so I know it's a different
okay. Right, right,
Uber,
right.
but
But
I kind of get it. Yeah.
so this is my get up. This was the first night because I'm like, it's sales, so I'm like, okay, I gotta impress. I gotta, if I act like, if I'm bringing up here, then they'll be more inclined to tip me, because if I'm coming in like a schlub, like, hey, come on in, then they're probably not gonna
Hmm.
respect. But if I take it up a notch, then they're gonna, maybe
Right.
I'll rise that bar, right?
Hmm.
You'd think.
No,
No.
not in
So
Tampa.
I not in Tampa, no. So and just to give you an idea, my first outfit, it was like jeans, and it was a button-up shirt. It was a gray button-up shirt, long sleeve,
Oh,
rolled up with a vest
you're so hopeful.
and a little hat, like the little,
Oh,
like the
it's like a little taxi driver.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I personally would appreciate it. I would
like
appreciate that.
up. I think I even wore a bow tie. I was
Amazing.
like, I was like
Chauffeur.
on my way. I was on my way to whatchamacallit, like I was a mixologist. Like I was
Hmm.
on my way to work. That's what, I was like, hey, how you doing? And so the first night I go, wow, man, all these stories are jumping up now. All right, so first night I go out, I was like, all right, it's gonna be right after work. I worked near downtown Tampa, so I'm like, okay, it was a Friday. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make some extra money. And so we got this. My wife was stay at home mom,
Hmm.
which managed the house, everything in the house. I want to say, when I say stay at home mom, no, she was stay at home. She
Worked.
ran the
Yeah.
house. She
Right.
worked, and she got her master's. So and she
That's
she got her
awesome.
finished her bachelor's, got her master's. She's a rock star.
She's a
So I'm like, all right.
badass. Okay, got it.
So I'm like, I got it. All right, let me get this. And raising our daughter. This is before
Hard.
Nika was born, but hardcore. So
Yeah.
I need to bring some money. I need to bring in some extra cash. So I pick up this job, or this this gig in this gig economy.
Hmm.
And the first stop was at this place over in Tampa by the water. And it was owned by, what was it? It was called oh my goodness, it's not it's changed the name, but it was owned by Hulk Hogan, and it was like all branded Hulk Hogan,
Okay.
like the wrestler. And it was, oh, what was it called? I forget, but it was big. It was like a main place, and I had to pick someone up. Oh yeah, I picked up. Wow, why do I have such a? I picked up a lady,
Uh-huh.
and I was just talking to her, and she's like, wow, this is a nice truck. I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like feeling good. Yeah, I'm driving my truck around. Blah blah blah. What would you like to
Hmm.
listen to? Want a bottle of water? And she was like, well, what do you do? I was like, oh yeah, I work for this company. She goes, oh, do you know so and so? And I was like, yes, I do. He's like really high up there. She's like, oh, I'm his ex-wife. I was like, oh. And then she just started dishing and dogging. And I was like,
Yes.
and this guy is like up, and I'm like, okay, I'm not, don't not, yeah, what's my name? Jimmy?
Yeah, he's like, don't worry about it.
Not me. So,
yeah. God, that's funny.
I drop her off at this place, this Hogan's place. I forget what it is, but I drop her off there. And then somebody comes up, and he was like, oh, so great. He's like, are you Uber Eats? Can I just jump on with your ride right now? Like, he was older guy, not really getting the idea of what not Uber Eats, but Uber was. He thought it was a taxi. I didn't care what he was saying because, oh my goodness, what is his name? He was a wrestler. Like, he was a famous wrestler. And what is his name? And I knew it right then and there, but he wasn't the wrestler. He was the manager. It wasn't Ted DiBiase. It was, I forget. But anyways, I was like, dude, and I knew his name, and I was like, and I just talked with him for a while. He's like, oh yeah, I got a couple stories out of him.
Yeah.
So cool. And then by that time, he's talking to me, and I get another, request. And he's like, I'm going to go back and drink. He was plastered already. So
yeah,
leave there and went to picking up people here and there. And everyone's like really impressed. I get to this point where the quote comes from, where I pick them up, and it's the two guys. One of them is a boss. One of them, is the other guy. The other guy, who's like the salesperson or the account manager or whatever, he is on it. He wants to have fun. He's like, oh man, yeah, we just got finished over here. It was already like, he was really, really fast. I don't know if it was just maybe his behaviors, but his boss was kind of like, maybe like drunk, quiet, just like, chill.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, man. Oh yeah. What we do is we set up restaurants in airports. And he's like giving me this pitch at 9:00 at night as if I had the money to invest, or like he's going to sell to me, but he's excited.
He's cutting his teeth on you. He's just,
Yeah, that's what little practice. Go for it. I'm just driving. And he was like, oh man, yeah, man, but tonight, man, we got that. We landed that, man. We're just wanting to go crazy. And then he was quiet. I was like, okay, cool. Quiet. Yeah, man, we're just trying to, just have fun. We're just trying to have fun, Like, yeah, great, man. Hey, man, do you know anyone who can help me party tonight? Like, well, what do you mean? I like party. Like, I want to party. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I can take you over to Ybor. I can drop you where. He's like, no, I'm like at a hotel room. Like, do you have people like you can invite over, and like, do you know any girls and stuff? I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, what are you expecting to happen right now? Like, I don't know you. You are a complete stranger. Your boss is right there. Go for it.
One question and one statement.
Yeah.
They were not from Tampa, were they?
No. Right.
Second statement. To his credit, you are driving a very nice murdered out truck, and you're dressed like a steampunk mixologist. I would also ask you where I could find drugs if I didn't know.
Fair. I never, you know what? Honestly, never thought about that.
That quiet moment that you had up front, he was nudging his boss, like, you think this guy fucking knows where I can get cocaine? Do you think this guy? It's like, well, he's wearing a hat and a vest, so probably.
Yeah, probably. He was probably quiet and like wondering. He's like, why is this guy being so quiet? What? Tell me. Do I have to spell it out? Do you know where I get my? Do you have someone who can help me party? And I was like, what do you? I said, so he was asking me after I was like, what? Try to get a little more. Basically, what he wanted was for me to invite some people or connect him with some people who will sell him drugs, possibly chill out with him. Also, call people up and try to invite women to come over to his hotel party that he has just not even started. And I was like, yeah, man, I gotta work tonight.
Can you take down my number just in case this ever happens again? I'd go. Right. Sure.
I was like, this guy was, I don't know. He gave me some creep vibes. Of course, the creep vibes could have just been coming from him asking me explicitly about drugs and wanting me to bring people over to his hotel room.
Creeps, I say this as a woman, creeps will give you so many free drugs. Just be
I'm sure.
careful. That's it. Like, especially growing up in Florida, those guys, if they think that they have money and they're trying to make a big show of it, oh my God, bags and bags of cocaine. It is just a great time. Just don't fall asleep and watch your drink.
Yeah, those are all. These have been words of wisdom from Ash. Dun 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 dun. Dun. There it is. Boom.
Boom.
Hey, did you know? Did you know that flamingos often stand on one leg specifically to conserve body heat and energy?
Really? You wouldn't think that because it's just like their legs are just sticks. I don't see how really that would like provide that much more insulation.
It's not so much insulation, but I think it's more the energy of putting your weight
Just
on two
locking
rather
your
than just
leg.
one. Yeah, but apparently it's something that scientists are still trying to understand today.
Very
And this has
interesting.
been Flamingo Facts.
That was good. I
So
like that. That was good.
you'll see that later. So either way, so that was all right. So the last one of the night. And this is the first night. This is the very first night. I think it was like a few hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, I started kind of early-ish, and this night I didn't know when to stop. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
when I was like, definitely not past 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not past 2.
That's vomit.
And it
That's
was,
vomit
yeah,
time. Yeah, no.
it sure was.
Mm.
So I think it was like around 1:30. The 1:30, I go on this main strip, Dale Mabry, a lot of nightclubs there. I pull up, pick three guys kind of pour themselves into the car, into my truck in the back. And one guy's kind of loud. He's like the goofball, funny guy. The other guy, his name's Aaron. It's a shame,
Uh-huh.
but his name was Aaron. And then there's a third guy. Let's call him third guy.
Okay.
So there's loud guy, Aaron, and third guy.
Okay.
We got it. So they're trying to get in because they requested, and it's like, all right, let's get in. Wait for my friend. Hold on, wait for my friend. It's like, okay, I'm waiting. Let's get in. People are behind me, and at this point, I'm still, haha, okay. I need to get you home. In my mind, I'm like, oh, these guys. I'm glad they called someone. These
Right.
guys were, So I'm like, I'm happy that I'm here. I was actually happy that I was able to be there.
Mhm.
To do so.
Saving lives.
Saving lives. It's the least I could do as an Uber driver.
Yep.
So they pull in. Aaron is sitting on the floor, right? So it's 3 rows, and the middle rows are captain seats, and Aaron's just sitting on the floor in the middle. And I was like, hey man, I need you to get your boy up in the seat and get a seatbelt on him so we can go. Oh, he's fine. No. This is loud guy. Like, no man, he's not fine. I need him up on the seat, or we're not gonna go. I need you to understand that. Can you? We get this, right? I mean, this is a normal thing. And he's like, okay, fine. And he picks him up. Aaron buckles him in, sits down. All right, no, let's go. And then he's hanging out the window, waving by. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna need you to sit down and buckle in. And I know, do not argue. You can't argue with a drunk person.
Right.
So
No.
I'm not trying to argue. I'm just trying to, hey, buddy, hey, come on, man. I'm just trying to get you home safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes, all right, fine. He gets in, buckles up, and we pull out. We don't go into the main strip. We go because he didn't put the address in the app, and he doesn't know the address, and he's trying to figure it out. So I'm like, I'm not getting on this main road. So I just take like a little side road, start going down, idling down this little neighborhood side road. And he's like, well, I don't know, man. And he starts cursing me. Just freaking do it. Just go. Man, you should have it. I was like, man, you never gave me the address. This guy is just never gave me the address. Okay. Aaron gets back on the floor. I'm like, hey man, you can't do this.
Aaron.
And the third guy is just quiet. Like, I'm looking at the third guy like, hey man, like, hey man, can you do something with your boys? And he's just
he's past the event horizon. He's gone. He's
gone.
A ship without a sail. He's just
right.
Blank. I prefer that to loud guy or what Aaron's doing, honestly.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But definitely third guy's not helping. So where, like I said, idling down, he's like, where are you even taking us? I said, man, I just need the
home.
Address. Yeah. I was like, I still haven't gotten the address. And then Aaron's on the floor. And I said, look, man, this is where I guess he doesn't like ultimatums. I get it. Oprah said, hey, if you're throwing an ultimatum in a relationship, maybe you should, look at that relationship. Well, I said, hey man, if you don't get your stuff together right now, you and your boys together, I'm taking you right back. I'm going to take you right back, man. And I'm only a quarter mile away, but it's like down a street that's all dark and nothing but lights where they were, but now down a street that's dark. And he's like, I can't believe you say that. And he's like yelling. And I'm like, dude, just calm down, just relax. And then he punches the back of my seat, punches it, and I hit the brake. I'm like, get out of my truck right now, all of y'all. You can't kick us out. I said, man, I'm about to climb over the seat and kick you out. I said, get out of my. I was so livid.
What is it about the service industry? What is it about people thinking that an Uber, that's still your property? You're allowing that person to sit in. That's the service you're providing, but it's still your truck. Get out of my truck, asshole. Like, what?
Oh, this is one of those moments where, like, you know, on YouTube or on TikTok or Insta, they'll have like the, you know, the webcam or the dash cam of, you know, oh, can't believe what this Uber passenger did. I wish, because this isn't it. Punch the back of my seat, slammed on the brake, seat belt's off. No, actually, seatbelt wasn't off. I spun back around. I said, man, you need to, y'all get out right now. So he gets out. He's cursing me up and down. He pulls Aaron out. Third guy goes out. He while he's cursing, slams my truck door. I just go drive. Just take the foot off the brake. And he said, F you, N-word only. He said all the words, right? And and I was like, okay.
You got called every slur.
Yeah. And I said, okay. I hit the brakes. And man, this is where, man, yeah, I'm not saying that God comes down and grabs people and says, move like this, you know, but this is where I'm like, oh, I go to get out my rage. I'm like, this is wild. And I get caught up in my seatbelt. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like God's like, stay inside. I was like, no. So then I just closed my own door. Like I showed him, you know, and then he was still yelling at me. Saying, you need to take me back home. This is the first night.
Yeah.
This is the first night driving Uber. Mm-hmm. Didn't get much better than from there. And again, driving all over the place in a V8. I think I made that night somewhere. It was somewhere like 175 to 200, mm-hmm. and it was a few hours of work. 4 hours work, maybe, probably even longer than that. But so I think it was like, oh, it worked out pretty well. But then like $75 in gas, you know, something ridiculous, and all those miles on my truck. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a fun little time. I didn't drive much more after that.
After you'd had that one night, and you were like, I don't.
That was we good. Mm-hmm. But here, so at my, I can't wait for the time where I'm able to talk about this job, because I had this job for a while. My regular job that I had during that time. Mm-hmm. So there was a high up executive in the company, mm-hmm. and maybe he was going through some things at that time, but I don't think he liked me. And I was presenting to like leadership team, mm-hmm. about this program I was putting together. I was in learning and development, and they've been asking for it. And he came in, and I don't know how it came up. I think my boss mentioned something about me driving Uber, something. And this high up executive that I don't even know why he was in my meeting, he looked at me and he said, You drive for Uber? Like I was the dirtiest thing. Like you drive for Uber? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I just started. He goes, why? I was like, oh, because, you know, just needing some extra money, you know, something to do. I said, no, I was like, at first, because the money's none of his business. So I was like, you know, he's like, why would you do Uber? I was like, well, you know, I like talking with people. I like it's gregarious. I just want to check this out. And he was like, don't we pay you enough money? And I remember, and I got cold because he was already insulting me, and he, in the past few months, had insulted me, and I didn't even like know him. Right. I didn't really know him, but he would just almost like bully a little bit. Mm-hmm. It was weird. It was a weird situation. Yeah. And so I just remember getting cold, and I said, no, I'm grossly underpaid, actually. Yeah. No. Yeah. And it just got very awkward. Very awkward. Yeah. And I was like, So if you all approve this, if you can approve the budget that I'm asking for,
it's crazy to me, like how like gig economy is kind of like poverty coded, where it's just like, oh, if you do any of that like on the side, then obviously it's gross, disgusting, whatever. But
I,
it's just like,
I,
you put me in a situation where I have to be a part of the gig economy and function in that way. It's like,
I,
fuck you.
I look at it as like, are you doing anything immoral, illegal, hurting someone else, doing self harm? You're not doing it.
Yeah.
Then and you're making money doing it, and you're not affecting, and it's not affecting your life in a negative way. What does it matter?
Right.
If they want to do a little extra, throw a little extra, another skill to make money on, why not? But I just thought that was so funny. I grew up with not much money at all. So, so maybe that plays a part, or maybe it's the other person just overt. I remember this was like 7-8 years ago, and this was this was in a new hire class, right? So I'm new hire, and this is a professional. Is a professional in this class, and I'm training him. This dude never took notes, and I would talk, and he would be asking questions. He's like, well, what about this? I was like, man, you need to write that down. I've already explained this. We've talked, like, this is not, I don't like taking notes. Like, this guy, and he was like highly recommended, like sales rep. So he was almost untouchable. It was annoying. It was funny though. But I mentioned to him something about Redbox. Something about Redbox. I was like, yeah, I got it on Redbox. He goes, he whipped it. He was like, Redbox? What do you get things at Redbox? I was like, yeah, man, it's like a
disgusting poor person.
Movie. Yeah, that's what I felt. He goes, don't you have streaming, or don't you have, what was it? He was like, don't you have video on demand? And I was like, man, I haven't had cable. My wife and I decided not to have cable right after we got married. Like,
you guys were ahead of the curve,
right? We just decided, and none of his business. None of his business. Don't you have cable? I was like, no, we don't. So I don't have video. And he's like, all right. I said, what's wrong with that? He's like, I just, that's you, I guess. Like, all right. So I guess it makes more sense to get it, like, buy it on Amazon Prime for $6 rather than to get it for $1. Yeah. I don't,
Sorry, I'm not a Kardashian. Like, what? What do you want from me, man?
Hey, yeah. I'm sorry, George Soros. Okay. But I can't afford a $5.99 rental at Amazon.
Whoop-de-doo. Okay? Tell me about your perfect life and your streaming services.
Well, go ahead and shove that privilege right up your
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, that was fun. I didn't do it very long, and I'm glad I didn't. When I did it afterwards, it was never past midnight. I was like, yeah, it just all devolves from there. What's the saying that nothing good ever happens after midnight?
It's true.
Yeah. So yeah, it's 100% true. So, but I'm glad that was, and also I was taking a lot of time away from my wife. I mean, the money that I was really bringing in, she doesn't want to spend Friday and Saturday evening alone, and so, but don't worry, baby. I had all the slurs thrown at me, and I made $48.
Yeah, I'm risking my life for a hundo right now, sweetie. I can't be home to watch Redbox DVDs with you.
Right. Oh my, and I look at that sometimes, and there's another story I have where I decided to leave because I was like, oh, this is dangerous and definitely not worth the money.
Yeah. You gotta stay strapped. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I can. At this other job, I was like, I could easily get punched any night that I'm here.
Yep.
That is not worth $10 an hour. No. Just not.
Nope, not at all.
Ash, thank you so much for being my guest. That was you had an amazing story. I hope you and everyone else out there in TV land liked my story. I hope everyone else loved her story. I'm sure they did. What we do at the end is we kind of go through reflections. So from that job situation that you were in, what was there anything that you were able to glean throughout the rest of your life, or something that you go back to and it's like, oh, you know what, that's a lesson I learned from that?
Yeah, dude, this has been super fun. I'm super glad that you had me on. So I guess what I would say, the positive things that I got from that job in particular, when you're in an oppressive, violent, horrible environment like that job was, there's a lot of sense of camaraderie. that you get. And like I made a lot of friends working at that place, and I'm still friends with them. I mean, I texted my manager and I was just like, hey, what do you think what do you think I can say with the NDA in mind? And like we're still buds. We talk every once in a while. So like that's nice. And then also working with plastic surgeons and having like no protections whatsoever when it came to the way that a lot of our clients treated us. When someone in my new job that I love, when someone's just like, this blue is too blue, I don't get mad anymore because it's just like
Right.
at least you're not hets, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You've already seen so much worse.
Yeah.
Like what is, yeah. Okay. No
Yep.
problem. You want it more blue, less blue? I don't care.
Sure. I don't know what that means,
many-
but we're going to figure it out.
Right. How many times have you sent them back the same color and be like this? And they're like, love it.
Yep. That's a fun trick I've
Yeah.
learned. Yeah. I was just like, I spent some time on this, so hopefully you like
Yeah.
it. Like I spent extra time.
The change is subtle. But I think
Mhm.
it's the change that
I
you're
think
gonna love.
I think that's the blue you wanted, and they're always just like,
Right.
yeah, that's great, I love it.
And then look really nervous, like, oh, you do like it? Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly. 100%. That's a fun trick.
So the lesson I learned, honestly, I kind of started talking. I mentioned it right at the end here, the last thing I said, but it was so that's the last like second job that I've had. So I haven't doubled up, on jobs since then.
Right.
And what is more important than money is that time that you spend with your family.
Yep.
And that's really what I got from that. Anytime when I think about doing something extracurricular that is going to be sustained, time like away from my family or consistent time, once a week or whatever it is away from my family, it's like, man, the return on that has got to be great. It's got to be huge.
Mhm.
The return on that has got to be greater than than me spending time with my family, and
100%.
there's not a lot that does that. So that's what, so I go back and I think about that pretty often.
Right. I agree. That's a good takeaway.
Nice. Ashley, this has been grand. This has been great. You go ahead and ask Phil. Ask Phil if I've ever said to any guest, I want you to be my guest every time. All right. This has been great. Loved it. Thank you so much.
This is super
Appreciate
fun.
you.
Thank you. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Oh, one more time. Plug that podcast of yours.
The Suck with 2 C's, no K. You can access all of the avenues in which to listen or watch The Suck via the URL The Suck. That's SUCC.me. TheSuck.me.
Love it. Ash, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.